Let's all say come at the same time. Ready? 1, 2, 3. Come.
No.
Well, Craftsdwarf sucks.
3, 2, 1.
今夜もミュージック君へのラッキー笑い合って抱き合って幸せにほらなれるように
Hey, what the what? Can you do me a favor really quickly?
Wait, fucking. Oh wait, no, sorry. I scrolled up and I saw the fucking gay. No, never mind. I still see
Can you
the gay.
can you go to the Weeaboo Club and look at the Lugosi and Lewis body pillow for me? It's the most recent picture posted.
I'm not looking at it.
Can you please?
I'm not looking at it.
But
I want you to put it on the
for
screen.
episode.
Yeah, so can you please look at it and just give me your thoughts and opinions?
So, audience, right now, can you vote who is hotter? Vote 1 if Louis, and vote 2 if Lugosi. Vote 3.
And vote 3 if Vindy.
Vote 3 if Vindy should be shoved into a animal control van and burned at the stake.
All right, that was thanks to Berserker. He posted that to Twitter and was like, "I found Lugosi. I found Beastars body pillows," and I just responded.
Hey guys, welcome to the
Weeaboo
Weeaboo Club. It is I, What the What, back again with the new podcast. I'm going to keep talking over whatever the fuck Vindy just said, so we can just move on. Hey guys, it's
comments.
me. We got some comments. Vindy, you want to talk about the comments?
Yeah, I won't speed through them this time. I'm sorry. I thought we were on. Okay.
Is your house okay?
Yeah. It was just leaking water. You know, typical things. It's okay. We fixed
Are
it.
you sure it was water, Vindy?
Well, yeah.
So no eugenically modified wolf girls escaping or anything?
No, not yet. Whose comment was that? That was funny.
Stephen S.
So Stephen S. left a comment and said, "What's the emergency? Does anthropomorphic eugenically modified wolf girls that he keeps imprisoned in his basement get out again?"
That was an amazing fucking comment.
Joke's on you. I live in Texas. We don't have basements here. They live in the attic.
Yeah.
Then Ronan111 says, "I'm sorry, what the what. I cannot bring myself to respect anyone as a person who thinks that Black Clover is good or well written. Well, okay. I have almost no expectation towards each new chapter that manages to underperform even compared to that. Like this last month of the manga has been extra trash. Here's can I respond to this really quickly? What? First of all, Black Clover does have really, really well written points. My whole issue with Black Clover is the arc that happened right before now was not great. I still think that the Royal Knight Selection Exam is one of the best shonen arcs I've ever read. It's really, really good. It has some fucking great moments. I think the Black Bulls are pretty good. And I think since it did that like 6-month time skip, it's been pretty good.
Hot, holy shit.
Noelle's like that's the biggest thing is like Tabata definitely draws hotter girls than Horikoshi.
Noelle, look, Tabata goes fucking wild, man. There's so many good girls. I would argue that the girl ones Boku no Hero Academia, not just in terms of cuteness, but in terms of like, I would argue in terms of even how they're written, they're way better than the ones in You'll See in My Hero.
I think there's only 2 girls I would say. Well, we can get into this another time because I don't hate Black Clover. I just don't think it's better than MHA, especially after the most recent completed arc.
And I don't hate MHA. I just think it's not as good as Black Clover.
Yeah, it's gonna be a fun debate though, because it's gonna start. We're both gonna go like Black Clover is shit. And you're gonna
the
go,
debate is going
shit.
to end with us lynching this old fucking man across the street.
Mid.
Oh, yeah, no. You should read the replies to fucking Ronan 8-1s because he's a fucking fucktard.
So there's Crusher who says, "Geez, sorry, themes and character building fly by your small head cum brain." Here's Crusher's problem. If someone was a cum brain, they would know Black Clover is good. Just for that one page, I don't know if you can find it. But it's like
it was like they're all at the hot springs, right?
No, it's the one where it's Noelle on top of her cousin, and it might be the hottest thing that's ever been in Shonen Jump. It's up there.
It's up there.
If we take out all of Chitoge, it's definitely up there.
If we take out all of Nisekoi, it's definitely up there.
Then what the artist says, "I'm sorry, dumb shit. I can't bring myself to think of a small brain like you as an intelligent human being." This poor guy gets destroyed every time. I feel so bad for him.
He deserves it. Let's be real.
He is a shonen fan after all.
Yeah. Shonen fans don't have rights.
The Berserker 14 says, What the What controls everything. He has the Infinity Gauntlet. I think you should rename the podcast with just What the What telling Vindy he's a furry, and Craftsdwarf is just there experiencing it. Great video, by the way. All hail What the What. All hail What the What.
I wonder how that guy found us, because, like, I only noticed him when we started talking about Beastars, so he must have gone, Beastars, I'm gonna listen to them, and then he liked it, I guess. I don't know.
He's turned into our #1 fan. Could you imagine?
Yeah, I love him.
Could you imagine being a #1 fan of the fucking Weeb Club?
Hey, the Weeb Club is better than the BSA.
What is the BSA?
Never heard of it.
But he's the guy who the Beastars body pillow is from. He said it should be in the background when we talk about Beastars.
Never mind, I fucking hate him. I hate him so much. He needs to be burned at the fucking stake. I hate him.
So the BSA...
Man, what is on a fucking crusade
He's trying to make us lose all our fans.
An inquisition.
Die for...
So speaking of the BSA, they actually commented, and they said, haha, what is the BSA? Haha, go fuck yourselves. And What the What replied, stay dead. And the hero Vindy says, at What the What, stop playing with yourself.
What does that mean, though? What did you mean when you commented that?
You're the one on the BSA account and your account and generally the Weeb Club account going to all of them, commenting to yourself because you think it's funny. You're just sitting there playing with yourself.
Wait. Let's back up for a second. When have I ever commented on the Weeb Club account?
I thought you did. Is there not
that's
one?
right. You can't prove that shit, can you? You fucking furry.
You heart them all. You heart all the comments.
You heart them too, you bitch.
Not as the Weeb Club. I have never once hearted a comment.
You have. I've gone in on the fucking account and all of a sudden there's a heart on somebody's comment. I'm like, what the fuck
that must have been Craftsdwarf, wasn't me.
Wait.
I don't fucking
The Black
check
and
the
Drock
comments.
also
Really?
have access to the Weeb Club account.
The Black. Can't even use it by name. Oh my god.
Oh my god. Please, I'm sorry. I was just kidding. Don't cancel me. I was just kidding.
My hero Raphael Racine says, I want to fuck the wolf girl.
Relatable. Wait, no.
You are all just the worst. You are all just the worst, honestly.
Then he actually left a really good comment as well. He says, thanks Craftsdwarf for explaining the joke. When you explained the joke of a comment.
Yeah.
He said, us Weeb Club fans are too stupid to understand humor. Then he responds to it and says, this comment is funny because at first you think I am thinking Craftsdwarf sarcastically, but after reading it, all of you realize that I am thinking him for real.
Craftsdwarf, you are really just like, okay.
In my defense, I'm literally paid to explain basic shit.
Okay, here's the thing. The Weeb Club is this weird existence. I was talking to some people in Craftsdwarf server. I was like, what are your favorite quotes from the Weeb Club? And a lot of them were just kind of like, they think that like the Nen show is more interesting, that the Weeb Club's more funny. And when Craftsdwarf made his funny little update video, he said something about like, I blame What the What entirely. What have I done? What have I done?
I come on in the same call as me transforms me. We've been over this. Go rewatch the fucking BSA, which doesn't exist, video game episode. Halfway through, what comes in, it's a perfectly calm and reasonable discussion. Then what comes in, we start talking about Pokemon, and I become evil. Okay, it's your fault. It's your fault.
There's also that one Monster Hunter stream, what comes in on, where
it's
you
the same thing.
Talking about jump as always, being like average. What comes in, and he's this agent of chaos. Like, if he's there, like, you're not normal. Like, you're an altered man.
I don't know why. I don't know. It's like, is it a defense mechanism? Am I like defending myself against?
You know what? I've realized. I realized this. You guys someone said that my mutant power, my quirk, was to like attract retards. It turns out that's not true. I turn people into retards.
Yeah, you like bring it out of them. Like, it's like they have their latentism, right? And you like, when you're around, you're like a magnet, and you pull that tism out of them.
I don't even know how it happens. You know what? That explains why I get into drama so much. Because people see me, and the moment they see me, the tism inside them explodes, and they can't control themselves anymore. What the fuck?
Oh my god. That's great.
I forgot. There's something else we forgot to do. I just remembered. We need to sincerely apologize to everyone. The last seasonal episode did not have the end card. I think we all know who to blame.
No, okay, that's not even a thing to apologize about. When I said the end card, it just means little buttons they can click on. I could fix that easily.
Did you?
I didn't yet, but I'm going to.
Well, Vindy doesn't YouTube, so he doesn't know that. And how have you not fixed it? It's been like a week.
Here's the thing, Craftsdwarf.
If he hasn't fixed it by the time this episode goes out... Especially because he'd edit it and he'd hear us talk about it and he could easily fix it then, and he's not going to. It's gonna be the funniest shit in the world.
Also, I looked at my recording timer. We've been talking for 10 minutes.
Yeah, I know. It's great. I like when we aren't forced to just talk about anime.
Well, that's the thing I think about the Weeb Club is that we're not really discussing anime at this point. We just kind of yell at each other and just go full ape shit. And then we go, oh, by the way, we have a show to talk about. Every single fucking time we do this shit.
That's why the comments are great. I think that's most of the comments I wanted to get to. There's one that's really good from Jonisha 3, but I want to save that for MHA.
There were more? Oh, God.
There's a lot of good comments.
There were 34 comments on the last Weeb Club.
Our seasonal episodes, actually, all of our videos average at about the same count as our subscriber count, which is at 223, by the way, friends. Give it up.
Neat.
I said fucking give it up.
I refuse to give you anything.
This is why we hate you.
I know. All right, let's start the OP and actually talk about a fucking anime.
Cautious Hero.
Abs.
Thirsty what?
This fucking show.
You know, here's the problem.
It was
with
so
Cautious.
it was so fucking close this episode to being actually really good.
Cautious Hero.
I thought it was good.
Here's the problem with Cautious Hero at this point is that now it's just trying to be funny. It's just trying to do funny things now, and like it just keeps trying to put itself over the top with the funny things, and then you realize that the entire show just has like the same joke. Yeah, and I'm like, I'm done with it.
Well, I don't know about you, but like when first of all, like this guy that he couldn't kill at first, and then he followed them into the god dimension. I was like, oh my god, an actual.
Yeah, that was fucking cool. And then all of a sudden they just.
I was like, oh my god,
it turned into like the lamest thing I've ever seen in my life, and I think that might be the fault of like the animation.
Well, not even that. It's like the fact that okay, now this goddess just gets rid of him, and then at the end of the episode, the last of the 4 heavenly kings was just destroyed in a single blow. It's just like, all right, well, like,
why do I give a shit?
Yeah, like. Because the entire time we've been saying, like, oh, it'll be really cool when he's forced to kind of go back on what he thinks about stuff. And, like, you know, he's forced to kind of do something when he's not completely ready. And, like, him being chased to the goddess dimension is the perfect example of that. But then it's just, oh, this other goddess just kills him. And then he jokingly maybe had sex with her. Haha, look at it.
Damn, I'm fucking jealous, though, man. It's fucking... I can't even just fucking joke about this because I'm just like now I watch Cautious Hero and I don't even think I giggled or anything. I was just kind of like stone faced. We're at that point now where it's just like that.
I liked the joke where she was like laying on the ground and like, oh my god, I thought she was an S, but she's actually an M. I thought that was pretty funny. And
I like the fucking Risa made the horrifying voodoo doll.
Oh yeah,
out of her hair. I like that.
I also like the joke at the beginning where he
why
throws...
did you like that, actually?
Because she, like, did this and thought this was a good idea, and then the moment someone questioned it, she's just like, what the fuck is wrong with me?
You know what's gonna hurt? That thing is gonna become important later on.
Yeah.
Well, duh.
No, it hurts, because I know it's gonna happen, and I'm like, oh, God. They're gonna use this as a joke, be like, haha, funny.
Well,
actually,
it was funny when he pulled her hair out of his thing and just, like, synthesized the sword right away. Like, that was kind of like, okay, he just has her hair in his shirt. I also like the joke where, like, he threw in MASH in the other one. It's like, oh my god, is he going to throw me in? I hope he princess carries. And he just fucking kicks her in.
I saw it coming, but it still got to me. Like, it still got me. Probably because of the voice acting. Because, again, she's great.
You know what's funny is that Vindy said when the one chick was laying on the ground, the joke was like, haha, no, I thought she was an S. Turns out she's actually an M. I didn't laugh at that. Because it just turned me on. What?
What?
Whoa.
Well, hold on. You could definitely look. Have I not explained this to you?
I don't want you to explain it to me. Actually, I think I'm good.
All right, I won't. I'll save it.
That was your. Never mind.
You want me to look? If your dick is hard and you're laughing, it only makes your dick harder. Like laughing while turned on.
Never mind.
Is the best
I
time to
regret giving him the opportunity to do that. I regret a lot of things. Honestly.
Yeah.
Like starting this podcast is one of them. It's like near the top of the list.
It's 2 after starting the BSA.
What is the BSA?
Huh? I don't know.
What? No. So Cautious Hero, right? I was just watching this, and like when most of the series is like used like for a joke, I'm like, okay, but now nothing fucking matters, right?
Yeah, well, it's like going back. Like, there's little tinges of darkness. Like, the episode starts with a man killing himself to summon the thing. It turns out like he sacrificed his family. Like, that's pretty dark. And then it just it does turn into goofiness. Yeah. So like, because because now thinking about it, like I'm thinking about the site it was published on, and at this like you have. Yeah, he's repeating jokes, but also as a writer, because like on Shosetsuga ni Naru, he's got commenters and other authors talking about his story as he's writing it. So he's probably like, oh, this joke got a good reception. Let's go further, like with the voodoo doll. Like there's
He's a fucking YouTuber.
All of them are that, but so that that's just one thing I just kind of thought of just now, really. So where you're kind of seeing the medium affect the story, I guess, assuming that even happened. Again, I can't just go to the site and read the comments or anything.
Yeah, imagine being able to read Japanese, right? Come on.
But yeah, it's like, so the Demon Lord is still there, and the series is still ongoing, so I just don't know where the series is going from here. Like, I enjoyed this episode. I thought it was fun. I understand, like the it's not getting serious when at this point in the show maybe it should. It's for episode 9. We have 3 episodes left. Seiya hasn't really been challenged yet. Like his ultimate solution was run to Valkyrie and have her solve everything.
But he didn't say ready perfectly this time. He didn't say his catchphrase.
But then he didn't need to do anything. Yeah. So it's like it was kind of building up to nope, never mind.
Yeah, that's kind of my issue right now. Is like I feel like if we don't get some kind of, I don't want to say like serious, but like I think if there's
payoff,
not some kind of good resolution by the end of the show, I'll feel like kind of cheated just because like I don't know, like if nothing happens. It's
I'm gonna use this time to talk about my issue with like, say for example, One Punch Man, right? Like at least with like a lot of its early shit before like Boros, right? And like my main issue is just like a lot of it is at the service of the joke, right? Like a lot of, even if it is like serving to like the greater point of the story, most of it's just for the fucking joke. And it's like, haha, he did a funny thing. Isn't this funny all the fucking time? And I'm like, haha, yeah, I get it. Shut the fuck up, please. I want to care about anything that's happening. Which is why, like, when I watched Mob Psycho 100 for the first time, one of my commenters reminded me of this. He said that I didn't like Mob Psycho 100 in the first few episodes, like when it first started airing. Like, I think I gave it like a 5 on the first episode because it was like it was like the fun. Like 1 is bad jokes because the jokes are just the same shit every single time, and like, but then like as the story started introducing serious elements, right? I was like, wow, this is actually really good. I love this show, and now I have it at a 9. The issue with Cautious Hero is that every time they have the opportunity to do something cool and like treat it seriously for once, they underlie it with they knock it down with the fucking joke. And I'm like, I get it. I get that you think this is funny, but it's not. Shut the fuck up. Oh my god.
Sad.
I mean, why do you like it? Since you're the one who at this point's the most
I thought it was funny.
Show, I want to hear why you are super into it.
What do you want me to say? Like, I get where you guys are coming from, but like 80% of my notes for the episode are just me repeating something in the episode in all caps because I liked it and I thought it was funny. Like, whatever.
And that's like ultimately the issue that I have with like a lot of like comedy, like sometimes comedy is that like my issue, like there is that fact that comedy is subjective, right? People will find different things funny. what separates like the funny thing, like what separates things that are like funny to me and like something that's like a good show that has comedy in it is like that it has more than just haha it's funny. Because if I don't think something's funny, then it's just kind of like, why do I care?
No, yeah, I get you. We kind of talked about this a bit on Asobi Asobase, which won't be watched for another couple months. While.
Yeah, will it even come out?
No, I don't think so, because we have in 2 weeks is Dumbbell, and then is Asobase at the first episode of the next year. So.
Well, speaking of Asobi Asobase, this show had a funny stinky girl meme, and I was like...
It'll come out on the
Yes, I like the Rista being bullied because she stinks, apparently. I don't know. Bullying is funny.
You like stinky
But yeah,
girls,
I don't have much
Vindy?
else to say.
I do like. God, I love the fucking crazy girl. She's so
the faces were good
great.
that are on the thumb. One of them's on the same face, but
I think she's my favorite part of the show at this point. She's so cute.
But yeah,
what did you think of there was a scene Craftsdwarf that I saw and I was like, oh, that's a Craftsdwarf scene where Alulu, the lolly, screamed and ran around in like a circle.
I don't know, she made some noises this episode, but that one didn't come to mind. Like when she got thrown into the portal, she like squeaked, and I was like, oh yeah. Why did you say that? That was a Craftsdwarf scene, motherfucker. Fuck.
Hey, what the what? I think we found out why Craftsdwarf likes this show.
It's very interesting, Vindy. It's very interesting to find this information out.
The only show with a lolly is the one
MHA has a lolly.
And it's also, again, still has not had an episode that was better than the Cautious Hero this week, and any week this season.
You know what? Craftsdwarf, I didn't realize it.
My
but
God,
that's like the hottest take you've ever had in your entire life.
And I don't like it's had episodes that are better than the weakest Cautious Hero episodes, just not on the same week that we discussed them. Yeah. You heard me. Don't run away. Fucking
wow.
It's more like I really just don't want to bully this old man anymore.
Well, let's put it this way. Cautious Hero
really
is bordering on like 5 or 6 out of 10. MHA season 4 is flat 5 out of 10. Let's put it that way.
So in the comments right now, I want you to leave your top 10 reasons why Craftsdwarf actually might.
Well,
have
the manga is like
something.
a 6, so. What?
You know.
I honestly
just,
just
at this note, like,
I'm ready to move on to an actually good show. But
I'm okay with that.
I'm
Let's
okay
move
with
on.
Play the OP.
Whoa!
Hey viewers, do you like naked bunny girls? Does that shit get your rocks off?
You know, I'm really mad actually because I made a joke where I said to Vindy's furry fantasies, but I actually didn't think that scene was like hot
I hope
at all.
not.
So like,
do you guys see?
Yeah, like that scene was just.
Do you guys see bunny girls get
like
into the bath full of flowers and think, bunny girl bath water? I would like that. Yes. Do you think that? We'll call this number right now.
You know, I was looking forward to the discussion, and then you guys immediately
you
fucking
turn yourself
ruined the discussion. You ruined the whole thing.
Well, no, we just need to talk about. So that's the first thing to say. Then I have one other thing to say before we can actually seriously discuss it. Big Lion.
Holy shit, big lion. Oh, she's so fucking powerful. This is fucking Shadow Arm. Feb didn't stand a chance.
I still don't know what that's a reference to.
I was waiting. I've been waiting since I watched it to say Big Lion.
Man, you know what? That lion dude's a fucking cunt, man. They're all a bunch of
Which
fucking...
one?
Oh.
Hold the don't you dare fucking say that. Look, okay. The leader of the Shishigumi is a piece of shit. The mayor is a piece of shit. Don't you dare talk shit on my other good Shishigumi boys.
Well, the ones we've seen in that episode are also pieces of shit. So, but I haven't read the manga.
No, one of the ones we see this episode is a very good.
Well, I haven't gotten to that point, Vindy Vondo.
Well,
so far all I've seen them do is say, "Bunny girl, get in the bunny girl bathwater." So, like, you know,
don't shit talk them.
They just want soup to
That's
go
all
with
I'm
their.
saying.
Oh God.
They just want their soup to go with their naked bunny girl. You see, they're pranking her right now. They're like, "We need your meat to be better for processing." And then she gets in. She's like, "Okay, what now?" And then Vindy's fantasies emerge.
Juno's not there. Lugosi isn't there.
But yeah, in regards to my general feelings of the episode, there are 4 times in my notes where I just have in like all caps. 4 separate times.
It was
Those
a really,
are
really
4
good
separate
episode.
times when Craftsdwarf came.
No, it was like screaming. God. I can't say anything. Everything I say, these guys twist and turn against me. I hate you both. Holy shit.
Okay, fine, Craftsdwarf. We'll make you more comfortable. We'll turn this into the Nen show, and we'll just nod our heads and say yes.
Yeah, no
yes?
jokes allowed. Only seriousness. No more jokes about Beastars, boys. What was one of the moments that made you say, ah?
Now I don't even want to say anything. Fuck you. Like you're.
I want to hear him. Talk about the episode. Talk to me.
So Lewis was his backstory. Like I saw a glimpse of him I was catching up to the manga, and then I saw like a couple pages of the next chapter. I was like, oh fuck, and then when I watched it, oh god.
Yeah, it's really, that was one of the things that I forgot. Like when I was reading through it, I had forgotten by that point that everyone in the drama club has like a shameful
Rough
backstory
times,
or like
yeah.
a bad past. Right, and like when I heard that, then it like activated something. It was like, oh my god, like
yeah, because like
Lewis.
It does quite a bit for his character. Like I'm interested in his dad because,
So let me ask you a question. Did that look like that in the manga?
the art style changed.
What do you mean?
Like the way it was drawn, did it look like that?
No, I mean it was in the manga from my memory, and I could be completely wrong, but I remember it being drawn like the same as the rest of the thing. So like super props to the anime for the visuals there, because they were fucking phenomenal.
Orange are fucking insane. They have like they've gone through like 10 different art styles.
Yeah.
That they've had at separate places during the show. They're like actually insane. They're crazy.
Now, I do want to say before we give Orange too much credit, and I know Craftsdwarf is past this, so
it's something
he can
that
agree to this too.
Yeah.
There was a really, really important scene.
Yeah,
Let's explain it for the people watching.
Yeah, the gun.
They are, yeah.
Okay, so basically there's this scene, and they can't get to it now. It's too late to have it happen. But there's this scene where kind of after, it happens immediately after in the last episode when Bill scratched Lugosi's finger or hand. Lewis's, sorry. He goes into like Lewis's, like where Lewis is, and he's like, hey, I know your secret. And he's hinting at Lewis's backstory that we find out in this episode. And he's like kind of like butting up to him, and he like gets close to him and touches him, and Lewis fucking pulls a gun on him, and he like points it at him, and he has this line that's so fucking good where he says like it's like who's the strongest now or something like that, or like tell me that I'm weak or something like that. While he's literally holding Bill to the fucking ground with
and
the
then
gun
I'm guessing the gun's gonna be important, but don't say anything, Vindy. But like, well, because like tying that to this episode, like weapons are definitely like a kind of equalizer, you know, because like we see kid Lewis with the knife, like, oh, and then just learning like why Lewis was saved from this scenario, and like because earlier he said to Lugosi, you know, to keep on to his child, you know, his childish ideals, like, you know, Lugosi's sense of justice. He was pissed off about the blood, about herbivores being, you know, exploited or you know, used in this way, and Lewis was that. And like, even so, like in these circumstances, like, you know, that was what pulled him out of it, his sense of justice. And now with the conflict, you have, you know, Lewis is he's shit, I lost my train of thought. No, yeah, he's like,
he's trapped between having to become a Beastar and
right,
also his
well,
own childish
like
ideals.
he's, you know, entering the world of adults as a Beastar, and like the mayor outright tells him is, you know, that this is just how adults do. They're complacent to the ways things are. They concede on their ideals to fit into the world. And Lugosi's being the kid, the one that Lewis even told him, you know, for Haru. Like, Lewis is, he's stuck between a rock and a hard place. Ooh, and I'm...
The hard place being his dick.
No, it's
what?
fine.
No more jokes. Come on,
Sorry,
serious.
my bad. No. Okay, so I think like the issue with like, I remember Vindy said this. There was no good place to put the gun scene within last episode. Or at least, like, within the time that they had allotted. There wasn't a good place to put it, I think.
Well, I think that last episode was completely about this weird love square between, like, Lewis, Haru, Lugosi, and Juno. So I completely understand if they wanted to cut it from last episode. But I think there was a perfect place to put it, which was immediately after you give Lewis's backstory, you could have put it there. and it would have shown some stuff. Because, like, I remember to me, and it's something that, like, when you see it, it makes total sense. But when the gun was pulled in the manga, it, like, blew my mind. Because, like, almost, like, all the fighting you had seen up to that point was, like, hand-to-hand or with, like, fake swords. So, like, while it makes sense there would be guns, I hadn't seen a gun. So the first time you see a gun, it does change things, right? It's like, okay, guns are here. Like, Lewis has this, so he's not necessarily weaker than carnivores. And I think that it does kind of hurt that it wasn't in this episode at least. But sorry, continue what you were saying.
Which one?
You mentioned that what I had said about how there wasn't a good place last episode.
Yeah, well, because like I don't know, like, because the gun becomes important later on, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah, it comes back. 1 second.
Okay, then that's definitely a detriment then for this episode. That's definitely a one over like heavy oversight. That the show
and like
has,
worst case scenario is like they could have found a way to like, you know, play the ending song and not actually play the ending, because that was, you know, in a minute and a half they could have used to have that gun scene and then have the ending playing over the last bit with Lugosi and Lewis.
Because that's a perfect like foreshadowing that like for that scene, like the idea that gun's gonna become important later. That's like perfect that they could have used, but they just they just didn't, because ultimately when it came to like them figuring what they wanted to do, I guess they just decided it was a good place to cut out. I also think that like there might be an issue with like, I have no idea how good Japan's gun laws are.
I didn't think about that because they are pretty harsh. Yeah, so it's understandable that like, because like.
Yeah, having a citizen have a gun,
or also
is
just
kind
because
of weird,
of his
right?
age. Like, and here's a well. I was gonna get, or what were you gonna say, Vinny? Because I was gonna give an example of a weird TV censorship law, but go on.
So censorship is a good example, but I think saying like what that would do to his character, kind of the even just the fact that Lewis is the kind of high schooler who would have and carry a gun, like that kind of what it takes to be that kind of person is something that is kind of a core part of his character. So
yeah, it's important to have that in there. But I think the issue.
So I understand the censorship thing, but I don't think.
Well, and of course, like two things is like one is that like can't show a high schooler with a gun on TV, but can show a little child attempt to slit his own throat rather than be eaten alive. Like
it's. Because that's why I was saying, I was like, I'm not sure, because I think
go on.
The more prominent reason is what I just said, where it's like they just didn't find a good place to put it, and ultimately when it came down to actually finishing the thing, it was one of those things where they decided it was like easier to cut their losses and get rid of that scene, which is going to damage it later on, because they could have used it as a perfect point to like foreshadow the fact that gun's going to be important later. But what seems more that's the more likely one, but unless like I'm right in thinking that like there's some weird law about like censorship, or also the fact that they kind of wanted, because this show's already like the society show, right? There's a lot of society shit going on, and the idea of this kind of show that's having a lot of these like really big questions about like identity and shit like that, on top of having this high school student with a gun, I think there might be some like meddling that like kind of like prevents them from wanting to do that, which might be weird if that gun's important. Like, because
I know like Fire Force was delayed for a week because of the KyoAni thing. I don't know if like there was anything gun related in Japan. Like, I mean, there's always a relevant school shooting in America, but that's a different country. So
right, it's hard to say. It's really hard, and the gun will become important by the end of the season, but it's just that like I don't necessarily want to say like it's not necessarily the fact that he has a gun is important, but like the gun scene introduces it, so when it comes back later, it's like, okay, you just know that and you move on.
No, it's perfect. Sense? It's perfect like film,
it's
like
Chekhov's gun. Yeah, it's literally a Chekhov's gun.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yes, it literally is a Chekhov's gun. So I don't think like I don't think cutting the gun is like terrible, but I do think it is something that I wish they had put in, because I think it is I have a friend who's current on Beastars, and like Lewis is his favorite character, and that scene is a large part of the reason why. So like I think that like cutting that scene does take away from Lewis's character somewhat, but I don't think
and I guess to go back to the censorship idea, just to explain another obtuse TV censorship law, you can't show a character under the age of 20 smoking a cigarette on TV. So that's why in the Stardust Crusaders, half of Jotaro's face was censored when smoking was like a plot, which is so stupid. And also in the One Piece anime, Sanji is 20 years old instead of 19. Because...
But Japan's this wild world where anything could happen, unlike America.
Well...
So I could So if like, again, smoking weird. Is that, like, a stupid and arbitrary, obtuse law, I can see guns being in a similar state. Like, I can't think of, like, a TV, you know, I off the top of my head that had...
Right, and you can't censor the gun the way it's used in that scene. Like, I can think of ways you can kind of direct around the later gun scene, because I think the manga kind of does it, but that gun scene, you have to directly show Lewis with a gun on someone's head. You can't really censor that. So...
I mean, now, the thing about there are other shows of characters with guns, but none. I don't know. Maybe something recent happened. I have no idea. We're just postulating. Let's go back to the episode because there were a couple other things to talk about.
The last part of the episode made me lose my shit.
Oh yeah, the fight
when Louis and Lugosi started fighting, and the line that Lugosi says is like, fine, if you can only do things the proper way, then I can't rely on you. But because of that, I'm gonna take Haru away from you. I was like, big dick boy, big dick so Chad.
Good. How is he the best boy?
So good.
How is he the goodest boy? Like, that was also when he was talking to Haru. But go on, Vindy.
Well, he had given up earlier in the episode on chasing Haru because he was like, she'd be happier with Lewis. They're both herbivores. It just makes more sense that way. And then that happened, and he was like, all right, like, because, like, he even mentioned at one point in his head, right, when he saved Lewis from that guy, oh my god, I don't know if this hit y'all, but he's like, you know, he's like, he stopped the fight between two carnivores with just a toy sword, and then he also was like, he has the perfect girl. He's next in line to be named.
And Lugos is beating up on himself because he can only solve things with violence, and, you know...
Because he thinks that's, like, the weaker way. Yeah. Because he thinks that, like, just resorting to violence is, like, the weaker way.
Because that's what society's told him. But, like, what's great is, at that point, he went from, you know, okay, Lugosi is a better man than me to, like...
Lewis is a better man than me.
Lugosi goes from Lewis is a better man to me than I deserve Haru because I'm going to be the one that helps her.
No, it's just, like... There's that whole thing about, like, retain your that childlike sense of justice or whatever like that. It's like this world kind of needs that, right? Like someone to defy that.
I'm kind of.
I know, but like the
I know what. I knew exactly what that noise was. Like, you have a designated, like, noise now for you guys need to read the manga. Well, because, like, as what I was saying, I was reminded. Oguma picked Louis because of that childish sense of justice, and he says, "You will change the world," and he's going away from that sense of justice to fit into the world. Oh god!
God. Look, I actually, like, teared up a little bit when it showed his backstory. When it was like the dad, like, picked him up. I was like, "You're my son now," right? And I was like, "Fuck yeah, dude!" But that last episode hit. That last part of the episode hit real fucking hard.
God, they're all so good.
I also think it's interesting that Lewis is being targeted, and this isn't me, like, you know, bringing manga stuff into it, but I think it's interesting that Lewis is being targeted by carnivores because he's next in line to be named the Beastar, and they're worried about losing
their carnivore status or general, like, recognition. Yes.
Yeah, like the status they have, because, like, look, the mayor is a lion, right? And so having a freshly named Beastar be an herbivore is something that they are worried about because they will lose their status.
Because they think it's going to be something like the same, though. But if I haven't read the manga, but I'm thinking that after this situation, like, because Lewis already kind of, like, expresses, like, not like, because he like expresses that, like, carnivores should be like, carnivores should be able to, like, have, like, he doesn't respect carnivores who, like, hide who they are, like, because of society, right? That's the whole thing,
right? Which is Lugosi, but he's more like he said, you know, he doesn't give a shit that Bill drank the rabbit blood, right? Like, to him, it's like that's part of being carnivore, like, whatever. But, like, he doesn't respect the way Lugosi does it, where Lugosi actively tries to hide his you know, he doesn't bare his fangs. He doesn't get angry because he, like, Lugosi is ashamed of his carnivore things, and Lewis wants him to be himself and be a carnivore.
God, this show says a lot about our society. No, but it's just a lot of shit that, like, this show does that's really interesting. And, like, the way it handled like the like, him talking to Haru, because Haru fucking knows, and she keeps interrupting it every time he tries to tell her.
And I like how he kept pressing it because he wanted to get it out in some way, but he did like, okay, tomorrow.
He's being assertive.
like she wanted him to, and
I love the way
he puts it off, right?
Yeah, I love the way he finally does it, where he even says, he's like, you don't have to accept them. I don't need anything from you. I just want to tell you.
What a big dick Chad boy! Holy shit!
I didn't even mention like the carnivores are planning to kill Lu. That was one of the moments, because it's just like fuck. There's so much like God happening.
The line though, where they're like, you can't protect us. You can't protect him forever. It's like you can't. I didn't know Louis had a bodyguard, and I was like, because that's good. God. It's this show, man. This fucking show.
God, it's really good. There's a lot of stuff in Beastars that I think is
and the way
it's really good, and I think the world is super well created. Like, and I'm saying that including a bunch of stuff that's happened later. Like, Paru has this great ability to just like kind of see everything, and created this super good, super well realized world that like makes sense within the confines of itself.
Yeah.
And it's really, really good.
I gotta give Orange a lot of credit though for like a lot of the things that they did with it, because like, ooh, I'm gonna remember like a lot of this stuff in terms of how the anime did it, and when I start reading the manga, because would you agree that there's a lot of shit that Orange did with this adaptation that's like super fucking interesting? Like, just
I mean, I think that what comes down to it a lot, right, is that like when I watch an anime adaptation, visuals are almost always something you give credit to the studio for, but the writing is something you give credit to the mangaka for, right? So like when like I want to praise the writing, I don't feel right praising specifically the anime or Orange, because it's not written by them.
It's adapted by them.
Yeah, but how they handled it is really how they adapted
right.
it.
Right, and I agree that they adapted, that the adaptation is really, really good, and they do a lot of good visual stuff. But the reason I'm mentioning Paru specifically is because Orange didn't create the world of Beastars. They didn't write Lugosi and Lewis's characters, right? They were written by Paru. So I want to give her the credit for these characters and for the world that she created, because that's like, even though the visuals are really good in Beastars, I still feel the core of what makes it great is the world and the writing.
Well, it's not even just like the visuals, like the sound design is really good, and the voice acting.
Yeah, but you know what I mean. Like,
there's little fucking quirks. Like, there's little things that they do. Like when Lugosi saw Louis by the elevator, he did a little. Huh.
Yeah, and then the way he like rose up in the doorway and went straight up was really good as well. But I think you still understand what I'm saying.
Yeah,
though, right?
Yeah. Well, that's the case with any adaptation, right?
Right, and that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
So like, I agree that the Orange did a great job adapting it. Like, I'll be the first
but we are
person to
talking
say,
about
like,
the
this
writing, so it
adaptation's
makes
great.
sense to talk about to the author. I get where you're coming from.
Yeah, to specifically mention
but
Paru as the person who did that.
Yeah, that's like.
No, I wanted to. Okay, are we about done with that? Because I wanted to talk about one last thing, or go back to one last thing actually, because the Haru scene with the fucking Yakuza lions like was fucking like unsettling, and like I thought about it later as to why I think that's the case is because like they even said like this is part of the manufacturing process, and I do remember like or hearing stuff and generally speaking where like with livestock the aim is to keep them calm, and apparently that makes just it's just better for like the logistics of it. I don't know if it actually affects the meat, but like so this was that, but on like these are cognitive animals. These aren't literally animals, these are thinking animals. So it's like, yeah, they're like the bath, that's like a human way to relax, but like it's being used in this context of meat being primed to be eaten, and it's fucking horror. Like, yeah, it was like bunny girl strip, but it's like, no, I was not I was like, I wrote in my notes, I hate this because Haru's good, I don't want to save her, please.
I can't believe Lugosi's gonna come in and Super Saiyan and Ultra Instinct and just beat the shit out of everyone in there.
But and it was also like clever to have like, because I do like sex slavery and just general human trafficking and shit. So making the Yakuza like lion carnivores, trafficking meat, like that's fitting. I like that.
I like that they mentioned that they tried to get her the previous episode when they turned the lights off, but they couldn't because Lugosi was there.
Yeah, what is this big dick Chad energy repulsed them? They couldn't do anything about it.
You know, like that's a good touch.
Yeah,
I
no,
like
it's
very nice.
I want to see more. I like this episode. I think more than any other episode made me burn to read the manga, and I'm not going to. But it's like, oh, I mean, after it's done, but not. But that's the thing is like,
yeah. No. After it's done,
for another episode.
I want y'all
there might be holiday break. Oh no.
Because here's the thing. What I will say, I know you like watching the anime first, but it's Orange, so we have no idea if it'll get another season. Considering
I know for a fact it's not gonna get another one with this case. Land of the Lustrous Saint, and this sure as fuck ain't. So I'm fine with reading the manga this time.
Okay, cool. I just wanted to get that out. Yeah. Like, I know you like watching the anime, and like with Haikyuu, we were pretty sure.
Yeah. Well, like there's certain I take it by like a case by case basis. Like for example, I'm gonna read the manga for quintessential quintuplets because I know for a fact they're not gonna get another.
I'm sorry, what?
Quintessential quintuplets.
No.
Gotobu no Hanayome.
It's quintuplets, not quintuplets.
I don't give a shit.
Now you don't care about pronunciation.
Now just because that.
Okay.
Yeah.
You know what?
So when it's white people words, he doesn't care.
Yeah, I'll give a shit. White people aren't people. Come on now. We all know this. Fine.
No, look. Nothing will make you racist against white people than fucking Hallmark Christmas movies, okay? I'm going there. Fuck.
God.
No, actually, no. Nothing makes me more
My
racist.
My sister watches those, and I've seen them.
Actually, no. Nothing makes me more racist towards white people than the Frozen musical at Disneyland. That made me like Frozen is.
Why would you watch the Frozen?
Because I was at Disneyland with my family, and they wanted to see it, and
but
all of us
came out.
No, listen. Let me tell you what happened. So it was like we kind of like watching, like just doing what we went there for like one time because my sister's friend had like bought our tickets, and we're like, okay, fun, and we go there. And we just wanted to see everything they had. We're like, oh, okay, the Frozen thing. Let's check that out. Because it used to be Aladdin, and we liked the Aladdin one. And so we go to watch the Frozen one. And all of us came out with the unanimous, wow, that was the whitest thing I've ever seen in my life.
Of course, it's in the snow. I don't...
No,
Hello?
Frozen is literally the whitest movie that I've ever seen in my life.
Yeah, it's set in Scandinavia. Have you seen whiter people? Because I haven't.
No.
You can't even see them. It's all snow there.
You don't understand. Like, just... It's like white people, like it's like white people culture, the movie, the entire thing, which. But anyway, Gotobu no Hanayome is never gonna get another season.
We
so
really do live in a society.
Instead. But Kaguya-sama is getting another season, so now I'm fucked and I gotta watch the anime.
God, that's sad because
it's doing some really good shit I heard in the manga, and now I'm very sad.
Well, not just that. The anime skipped quite a bit.
Yeah, I know, but it'll be even sweeter when I go back and read.
So I was gonna say, I hope when you read it, you go back to
any fucking actual human being.
Who do you think I am? Some kind of look. Only disgusting anime onlys read from where the anime stopped.
I mean, if we go back to the comments for a second, there's a great comment by someone who shall remain unnamed that says, "What the what? I read both the anime and the manga. Also, what the what? I hope the anime sucks so I can read it." You know.
Who was it? Actually?
That's a direct quote.
Wait, who was it?
That's a direct quote from you.
Wait,
who was that?
Yeah, who was that?
Me, Vindy.
You're not a person, Vindy. We all know this. Furries aren't people. Anyway,
cowards won't literally like do what I'm doing and read Beastars as I'm watching the anime.
Because Craftsdwarf, I don't have.
Imagine having read Beastars for the last year.
Craftsdwarf, I don't live in an old folks' home where I have.
Speaking
all
of
that
old
time,
folks,
right?
we have one more show to go. Play the OP.
あの日守ると決めた約束はこの胸に
Mid.
I hate boomers so much. Okay, so I was actually gonna make a video on this the IGN review that Vinny was talking about last episode. I decided not to because I read it and I was like, this isn't worth it to make the video because anyone with a brain should be able to deduce why that review is wrong. But basically, the review by IGN said something about episode 6 of Boku no Hero Academia was like, it was bad because I'm losing my mind right now.
It was all exposition.
Yeah, it was all exposition.
Is
yeah,
inherently bad, which I want to talk about in a second. But.
They said something like this show is bad because of exposition. A lot of the things can just be inferred. And the way they go about doing this review is by literally saying what happens in the episode, ironically. But, that's just a little piece of irony I found there, but whatever. But then they praise episode 7 for doing things that episode 6 did. But I noticed that because there was a fight at the end, all of a sudden the episode's good.
I was about to say, there was a fight at the end.
Really?
Yeah.
That's oof.
Shonen should have the funny fight scenes.
Okay.
Well, the fighting was automatically bad because the dragon lady transformed and she had flesh-colored scales and looked disgusting.
That was kind of yikes. I didn't like
Scaly.
that. I didn't like that. I didn't like that, Vindy. I saw that and I was like, I didn't like that. And then she had giant dragon boobs and I was like, I don't like that. I really don't.
Vindy likes it, but it was gross.
The giant dragon boobs were funny, but okay. Okay. First of all, the IGN article is terrible because it like kind of makes like the saying like, okay, look, show don't tell is maybe the worst rule I've ever heard, because yes, it has its good points, but it's one of those things that people use and don't understand what it actually means.
Well,
if you think exposition is inherently bad, you're stupid. You can't have a story without exposition. Exposition is the core of any story.
Show and tell are both tools. It's a matter of like what's important to show.
Show don't tell echoes from a sentiment that is kind of true, that a lot of things that will just tell will turn everything into a bunch of talking heads when there's arguably better ways to do it. Like, for example, way Boku no Hero episode 6 did it is not talking heads, so they need to shut the fuck up.
Right, but that's my problem, right? It's the same as that red letter media meme that I will hate for the rest of the time because it's used incorrectly. It's rooted in a good place, but these retards on Twitter and writing for major publications, and I don't know how they're writing for it because they clearly don't understand what their words mean, like, don't understand the core of this shit, and they just kind of say it as if it's a fact, and it's like, dude, you don't know what you're talking about. Like, exposition is important, right? Imagine if you took a supercut of MHA and just put every time that there was a fight scene going on back to back to back to back. It wouldn't make sense. It wouldn't be good. Exposition is absolutely necessary to tell a story. Therefore, it isn't inherently bad. It's the implementation of it that will make it bad.
Yeah, well, that's just the case with everything. Here's the thing, right? Boku no Hero Academia is kind of like me, where like it's somehow just the very presence of it turns people into retards. I don't know how it does it, because earlier this week, a Twitter user by the name of Criticold made a funny little thread, and it starts off pretty nice. It's like, it's defending Deku, and it's like, haha, people say that Deku didn't earn his quirk, but he did. And it was like this thing. It was like debunking the idea that like Deku's a bad protagonist. I was like, cool. If he had just stopped there, it would all be fine.
Well, we almost got into an argument about it because I only read the first tweet. I was like, yeah, he's right. And then you're like, look at the thread.
Then I was like, read the rest, and he went, oh,
right? Because I read
the monkey man goes, oh, the Naruto had thing handed to him. Edward Eric got golden ticket. Gon is just got things handed to him. I'm like, you motherfucker.
I'm sorry, was that a fucking Yoda voice you used?
No, it was caveman voice. But it was like,
sounded like goddamn Yoda.
Whatever. So like Boku, and then there's also the tweet that like Nanmanji quoted, where it was just the guy, these Deku's like, Deku top 5 shonen protagonist, and it's like
that was definitely a Yoda voice.
I hate Boku no Hero fans because they have the chance to make their show actually be taken seriously by people, but at every single point they choose to be complete fucking morons and
so
make
it's kind of like the
worse.
SAO issue where like they don't know how to defend the show, well, so they're just retarded.
At least Boku no Hero fans sometimes can make a good point, right? Sometimes they're able to make a good point. They're like,
if you only look at the first tweet of the thread, they made a good point.
Yeah, exactly. Right? See, Boku no Hero fans are able to make a good point. Sword Art Online fans, the only reason Sword Art Online is never going to be taken seriously is because the fan base is full of the stupidest people on planet fucking Earth. And they're worse. They're kind of worse than Boku no Hero fans, because like Boku no Hero fans will do the throwing things under the bus thing that I'm going to make a video about. They're like, they'll throw things under the bus to make Boku no Hero like more elevated. and that's stupid. But Sword Art Online fans, because they've been used to being thrown under the bus so many times, instead of being better people and choosing to just say why their show is good and say that they just really wish they could be taken seriously, they instead take every other show and throw it under the bus. But because they're so already not being taken seriously, now they're angry,
like throwing guts under the butt, like that's like doing it funny as a haha Black Swordsman meme. That's
people
that's
are
funny.
unironically doing it.
But
it's
no,
like...
then when it's like, really? You're gonna fucking like throw Berserk, like one of the most beloved series?
No,
like, it's
Sword
good.
Art Online fans are fucking wild because they go after everyone. Like,
you know, I don't want to hold on. I don't want to praise Berserk fans too much, or Berserk too much, because you know what Berserk fans are like.
well,
No, they're
They might make an
different...
hour-long video on a single arc that's like the worst video on YouTube, but we're not gonna talk about that.
what the fuck?
No, but Berserk, they're different. They're like Hunter x Hunter fans with a different kind of head up their ass. But
Well, that's a whole other argument. But the point is, right? Sword Art Online fans, like, they really cause a lot of damage for the bus industry because they just keep throwing shit underneath them when it's like
Is that a video you're gonna make in your joke?
he already did,
Joke
yeah.
You're gonna make in your, you
well,
know,
no,
like this.
it's better executed in my video, so who gives a shit? But anyway, it's like someone's like, they're like, how could the incest in No Game No Life is liked, but not Sword Art Online? And I'm just sitting here like, I don't know. Maybe because Kirito's wife's about to get raped at the same time and we're focusing on this.
And can we actually talk about the episode?
Oh yeah, well, the episode was good. Not as good as last episode, but it was good.
So
It was really
my
good.
opinion on the episode is like, if not for the podcast, I would have dropped the show at this point hard. I actively felt like my time was being wasted.
You would have dropped it right before the climax of the arc
I already
started.
read it.
That's true. You already read it. Okay.
Yeah, see, that
I
gets
thought
so
you were talking
like,
to someone who, if you
No,
were someone
no,
who
no, no,
hadn't
no,
read
no,
it.
no, no. I like read the arc before. It was fine. Watching the anime as an adaptation, this is a waste of my time. Basically, is what I'm saying. Like, I've thought about maybe I should watch the anime. Now, having seen it, no.
Well, this episode
Basically.
is objectively not as good as last episode. I think so.
Right, and knowing my feelings on the last episode, you can understand me on this one, basically.
Well, the idea is like last episode at least did something like kind of different from the already like written material, right? Like the already material from the manga. This one, it did the funny meme where you say where it's just panel for panel adaptation, and that's where I'm kind of like,
yeah, like there was the moment where Deku cried. That was
but this
fine.
episode had a fight, so it's objectively better.
oh yeah, you're right.
Yeah, like that. The moment where Deku cried was the best part of the episode, and then the rest is just like moving things into position for the actual arc to start. And I was just like, I know, I get, you know, I'm just waiting for it, and then that was the whole episode. And like there was a part where the Yakuza guy was buying the magical girl toys, and I'm like, man, that looks like a magical. So I wish I was watching that. But then yeah,
I'm sure you were.
Yeah, because magical girl shit is fucking good. Shut up. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to snap at you. I don't mean it. I just... Okay, that's all I had to say about the episode.
Deku crying was really good. I love that scene. I like... There's like this... I mean, it's shown, but it feels like it's something that's never like directly said. But I love that after the Stain arc, kind of like Deku, Ida, and like Todoroki are the three of them are like really good friends. And like it's never, you know, no one ever comes up and says, "Hey, since the Stain shit happened, y'all three are really close." But like we see them eating together, and like, you know, they're helping Deku, and it's really nice. And I like seeing those three together, even if Ida is like one of the worst characters in MHA.
I wouldn't say worse, but he's definitely he exists.
I think of the class members that have gotten stuff, he's near my bottom compared to like Kirishima and Todoroki, and you know.
Yeah.
All the good characters. Bakugo, my hero.
Bakugo. Oh yeah. Okay. I think my issue, like, this episode was good. It's just when I think about like comparatively, and I realize that like this is definitely just one of those cases where it's just like I got the same thing out of the manga, but it was faster.
I think it's harder.
Exactly.
To be fair, I think it's a little bit harder for this. Like last episode, they definitely like it's easier to play around with visuals because it's a bunch of people in a room, right? And so it's like when you just have characters in a room talking, it's a lot easier to do interesting things visually. But like the scenery in this episode changed a lot, and I think because of that, it is harder to do. You know what I mean? It's like we have to have the scene that happens at the
and like I haven't seen the other 3 seasons obviously, but like they're gonna adapt basically everything, so it's like, you know, another studio might have, or you know, another director might have taken more liberties to sort of like avoid these kind of just slow episodes, but or just, you know, just like again moving things into place episodes, or just like bypass certain things where, like, you know, they're pretty dedicated to adapting the whole thing, even if you get episodes like this, which is just gonna, and they're still showing the fucking subtitles for what character is which, so our shonen fan audience brains don't forget who's on screen and what their power is.
That shit actually makes me like frustrated. That's the example of the exposition that I hate.
I know why it's there. It's for, you know, because little children watch this.
I think that's a way. I think complaining that that's like over exposition when it is words on the screen is not as bad as continuously saying that, like, because words on the screen don't take time, right? Yeah. Like, it takes production time, but it doesn't take time out of you. It doesn't take time out of the episode and the pacing of it to put words on a screen. Well, but like, it does take time out of the pacing to give us the same flashback 200 times in a row. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no. Well, what I was going to say is, like, because I understand why it's there. Like, I really like the video Joe did on a side channel where he's ranting about sort of TV anime, and he talks about how, because people bitch about the exposition, people bitch about recaps, people, you know, bitch about that kind of stuff, and emotionally, like, I'm there in regards to this thing with the subtitles, but Joe makes a great point that, like, TV is made with audiences in mind that aren't necessarily going to be paying 100% attention 100% at a time, where Western viewers, we're focused on the subtitles. We have to treat this TV anime like it's cinema. We have to pay attention the entire time. Like you were talking about the other day with Godzilla movies, Vindy. Like, you know, you can't, like, you have to pay attention to it the whole time. You can't just check your phone. And that makes it harder to watch than Big Hero 6, which is an English movie. You can just, like, oh, they're talking. I can check my phone for a second. I'm not going to miss anything. Right. You know, oh no, the cinematography, I won't catch this. It's Big Hero 6, you know, you're not going to miss that much. Where, like, so I understand why it's there for this show, because, yeah, again, I don't know what time slot it airs, but it's, you know, it might catch people who are just, like, only have passing relevance with understanding of the show. Just, you know, as a viewer, it's just, like, I see it and I go, I have this emotional response of, like, I don't like this, you know, I don't need this, because it's not for me, even though I understand why it's there. So it's, like, I don't know, that's, again, but, like, and go, you know, I feel like, you know, it's like what you talk about, the same thing. So I just wanted to bring that up as, like, I understand why it's there. I just still don't care for it personally.
Right. No, and I mean, I think I agree that, like, it's stupid, but I just wanted to say, like, when What started saying, like, it's part of the exposition problem. It's like, it's not the same as the same flashback. Deku spends a minute talking about why he has one for all.
Boku no Hero doesn't typically, more often than not, will not exposition things well, right? They won't exposit. It doesn't exposit very well. It resorts to talking heads, and it also resorts just constantly reminding me like I'm a child that of what All Might's quirk is, even though I've known for the entire fucking show what his quirk is. But like to throw, so like this episode, and like there's not a lot of there's not a lot of exposition, but there is just like things that I think were done better in the manga. It's still good, and it's just kind of like a, yeah, this episode kind of neat, kind of.
Yeah, well, this episode's kind of like that. I like the idea of moving pieces that Craftsdwarf said, because this is kind of like this episode's like the equivalent of, like, if I'm playing Fire Emblem or another, like, turn-based game, I need to move my pieces into a position before I can start attacking them, right? So this is the move, like, this is them moving, you know what I mean? To the two positions to get ready. And I mean, you know, I'm glad.
What are you saying? No, because like I mentioned this a lot on the Ninja during Dressrosa, because there's a good stretch of chapters where it's just the characters moving, and like I was engaged reading it, but I also had multiple chapters to go. Like I could just get through that and get to the important stuff, you know, the big climactic stuff. Where with this anime, I'm stuck watching it weekly. I've already read it all through, you know, so it's like like, God, imagine Dressrosa was longer than in the anime. It was over 100 episodes. But yeah, go on.
Well, yeah, I just like I do like that it's episode 9. I think maybe it's episode. I don't know what episode it is actually. They did miss a week. Whatever. I like that we're getting to the climax of the arc already. Like, I was worried that it would take a lot longer to get to when the arc actually kind of like gets going. And I'm glad that I will say it felt like, because I got caught up to the MHA manga during this arc, and it felt faster in terms of getting into this part of the arc than it did in the manga. And part of that's because you can do more manga chapters per week than, you know what I mean? Like, you can adapt 2 or 3 manga chapters a week, but I do like that, like, and maybe it's different. I'm sure it's way different binging it, but at least reading weekly both, it felt like we were getting into the arc faster than what I remember it taking from the manga.
Yeah.
So I'm excited for all the future episodes because we're actually going to start getting to the good stuff now.
Yeah, this is when the fucking arc. Oh god, Sun Eater's episode is next. Oh fuck.
And you know what's right after Sun Eater's episode? What?
Wait.
We go right into the Rappa fight.
Ooh, God, Kirishima's fight and Fat Gum's fight is.
And look, we're gonna talk about it then. But the best part of that fight is that the villain's also a good boy.
This arc has some of the fucking best shit that has happened in Boku no Hero. God.
Yeah, I'd agree.
God, I'm just. The issue now is just like this episode. I'm just like saying I'm excited for what's gonna happen next, and it's like, what do you think about this episode? It's reminding me that I'm getting ready for shit that's gonna happen next.
Yeah, that is an interesting comparison. I think about it because, like, with Beastars, we're excited for what's gonna happen next, but the episode was also like really good and interesting. Where this one was just like, it was getting us ready for what's gonna happen next, which is important. But like, yeah, it happened. It just happened.
Oh, I did want to mention before we finish talking about MHA. Sorry, but. I mentioned we were going to get back to it, so I want to talk about Jonichi 3's comment where he said that Horikoshi's issue with the overhaul arc was less with the length and more of the subject matter. Since he enjoys reading dark and depressing stories, when it came to writing for him, the overhaul arc, it was too much for him and resulted in him creating characters like Fat Gum, whose optimism and endurance encouraged him to see the arc through to the end, and was probably why the tone of the arc after the overhaul arc was much lighter. The interview is here if you want a full picture. And I don't know if y'all read the interview.
No, I did not. Well, I was just going to say, because like he's responding to me because I said something about his mood about the end. I thought it was maybe stressed from doing something longer, which was silly because the manga as a whole is longer. So in retrospect, that was dumb, silly. I misremembered anyway.
So I read the interview because I was super interested. And it was really, really interesting because, first of all, there was this great part in the interview I want to just bring up really quickly where the interview asked him, what does it mean to be a hero? And he even said, when I started MHA, I would have had a really clear answer for you. Now, I don't know. And, like, that's really interesting to think about. That, like, the core of MHA is what it means to be a hero. And as Horikoshi's writing it, it's getting more muddled in his head as to what it is. Right?
Well, I think it's still there. I think what's happening now is that, like, the show... It's becoming more complex than what it's trying to say, but ultimately it will.
That's what he explained. Yeah. That's what he basically said was like he said that like now when someone asks that he thinks about how some people consider baseball players their heroes or this or that, and like before he would have just thought of a hero as like kind of what All Might was at the start of the series. And I think that's interesting to think about that like as he's writing it, kind of like it's evolving.
Well, I've talked about how writing is a process that evolves, and like there's also a subjective quality to it where it's like, I need to find a source for this to see if it's even true. I mentioned before, but like Oda couldn't explain Luffy's character. Like I can, as a reader, but like Oda writing him like, and that's interesting because, he understands him like intuitively, basically. And I definitely think there's an aspect of that to writing, where you get it, but you maybe can't explain it. So I am kind of, that's neat to hear it directly like that.
There's that whole thing where like shonen get worse as time goes on because they betray their themes. That's actually a really good point because the best example I could come up with is one that Vindy here still has not finished yet because he for some reason thinks one of the best arcs is not that good compared to everything else. Bleach is interesting because Ichigo is a main, because like people always point out that it betrayed its theme of grief, of dealing with grief, right? I'm like, no. Well, first of all, it had that throughout the entire story. Characters were dealing with grief the entire story.
Right, like, I think we talked about that one specific video, right? Where it's like, his mistake was thinking, like, he tried to see Soul Society as antagonists to thematic idea of grief.
They're not.
Really, they're they're becoming protagonists. They're with grieving alongside the main characters, like, in different ways. Like,
it's the best example is, of course, with Bleach, it's Ichigo. Ichigo only has one thing that's clear throughout the entire story, which is that he wants to protect everybody that he can. What happens throughout the story of Bleach is that he matures that idea. As he fights different people who have their own ideals of what they want to do, he himself grows his own ideal as to what that means to want to protect people around him.
Okay, I think I see where you're going with this now. Or
and it's like
where Horikoshi himself is like understanding the idea of hero as he writes the story.
Who had an epic interview? He had an epic interview with Horikoshi?
Yeah, cool. He's had one with all the big three authors.
There's that one interview he had with Tyke Kubo, and like Horikoshi said that he used to draw fucking Bleach like fan art of Bleach Bleach characters all the fucking time.
Yeah, Horikoshi has Bleach OCs who are lost to time.
What if? This is just a fucking what if.
Didn't he also contribute fan art to One Piece at one point? And was
he had exactly. He had a fan art of Smoker that was in one of the volumes of the SBS Japanese volumes, the US volumes print US fan art.
The final road for Boku no Hero. You fools think.
Well, that's something that I love about Hori. Sorry, I like Hori has things that he's a really big fan of, and he draws a lot of fan art of it, which is always really cool to see. Like, it's cool to see someone who's a professional mangaka make fan art. Like,
I saw someone did a tweet, or I saw someone tweet or I think it was what retweeted maybe, and there was like 4 pieces of fan art needed for other things. One of them was fucking Precure. I was like, I haven't seen this season yet, but my dude. It was I forget which season it was, but it was because I haven't seen it yet, so I haven't put it to memory. It wasn't one. It was I don't know. I recognize the character in my brain, but I don't know what she was from.
When I saw it, I thought it was Hardcatch.
Or maybe one of the characters was.
I thought it was Hardcatch when I saw it.
It looked like.
Oh, it might have been Hardcatch.
God, I love Hardcatch.
I'm pretty sure it was a Hardcatch.
Much.
Like here's a Pokemon fan art he did.
Yeah, that one's fucking cool. That was fucking cool. Yeah, that one.
Yeah.
So. Listen to my big brain theory here, boys. Listen to my big brain Boku no Hero Academia theory. The show is going to not... You people think that it is just Green and Naruto? Fellas, you are wrong. The story... Boku no Hero's end goal is to become like Bleach. And it will become great.
Well, it already is great. The other thing I wanted to mention from that interview really quickly is that specifically what Horikoshi was talking about was that, like, the arc was too dark. Like, he wanted to try writing a darker arc, and that started to make him feel like shit. And so he even mentioned at one point that while he was writing this arc, Fat Gum was his hero because he could look to Fat Gum as, like, the source of, like, not just being super dark, while to him the rest of the arc was just, like, too dark. It was starting to make him feel, like, bad writing it, which was interesting.
How old is Horikoshi again?
I'll look.
Because I love writing dark shit. I don't know.
Well,
like, I wrote Danganronpa fanfiction. I killed half my cast with regularity.
Horikoshi is 33 years old.
I think Horikoshi should end up writing more, like, dark... Because he's already kind of doing it right now with what he's doing with Endeavor. But, like, the cool thing about Horikoshi is that, like, he'll do dark shit, but he'll keep a bright character in there. Because that's the whole idea behind a hero. There's the light and the dark, right? That's fucking cool.
Right, which is why it's nice that he called Fat Gum his hero while he was working on the arc, because Fat Gum was, to him, the brightness in all the dark, and it's really cool.
Yeah, and even last episode, like you guys mentioned, because I did like that moment, I just forgot to say, but like, or didn't get a chance to say, but he was the one who was thinking like they should go in there now and say, do something, be heroes. Like he's being a good boy.
Like, God,
so yeah,
he's so good during this arc too. Like, maybe one day I'll get down to why specifically I just don't think Boku no Hero, as it is right now, is as good as like I think it could, like, will be down the line after, like, it's over, right? But right now, as it is comparatively, I just don't think it's as good as Black Clover. There's like reasons for that, because but we'll see. That's the issue with reading long running shonen, is you never know until the end.
You'll never know when they pull a 7 Deadly Sins or a Food Wars on you.
Let's not talk about 7 Deadly Sins. 7 Deadly Sins is the thing that refuses to fucking die. It will.
Okay. Hey, Vindy, do you want to talk about Food Wars?
No.
Craftsdwarf, you know what? You're
one
really
day
not
I'll
making a
find
good
something
case
I
for us to
love.
not fucking hate you. You know that?
I know. I accept the sin. One day I'll find a series that I like, and then it goes to shit, and then you can laugh at me.
I refuse to. I'm not talking about Food Wars.
I refuse to talk about 7 Deadly Sins.
Well, don't worry. When they start the Dark Chef arc, I'll catch up to the manga, and we'll all go through it
That's not.
No,
on the
That's
Weeb
not.
Club.
it's not happening.
Cowards.
I
Coward.
hate-
Listen.
Actually, no, wait.
I can't
You need to
even
watch
look.
the next season.
Not, is it
no,
the next
like,
season?
for the seasonal.
I'm not watching it. No.
Oh
That's
yeah,
what I
no, that's a
mean.
good idea.
Look, I can't even be jokingly upset, or like it doesn't like Shokugeki doesn't make me as angry as like Seo Koji manga does, where like I'll actually get mad and start yelling about it. I just like I like fuck it, like it makes me so mad because it was good that like I just I hate it. Fuck Shokugeki. That's all I'm saying.
I mean, I want to fuck some of the girls. Shokugeki.
Okay,
They're
we
fucking
have
hot.
we
Holy
have
shit.
spent roughly 80% about the time on this episode discussing anything but the episode. So I guess we should
This is
call
like
it.
the longest seasonal episode so far.
I think so. Well, Beastars was fucking amazing. Cautious Hero was fine, I guess, and My Hero Academia, we were talking about literally anything except My Hero Academia,
Well, 'cause
or at
what
least
is
this
there to talk
episode.
about? It was just like a prelude to better shit.
Still thought it was better than Cautious.
Yeah,
Hero.
yeah, no, yeah, but duh.
All right, cool.
Y'all suck. Anyway,
I want to suck Nejide's,
doing
All right,
nothing
thank
for the
you
rest of the
guys
fucking arc.
for watching the. Thank you guys for watching the Weeb Club this week.
God.
Yeah.
I have something to say. I have
Back
one
next
last thing to say.
time for-
Did you see
oh, wait.
Nejide when she came out and she had like pajamas on and her hair was wrapped around her like a fucking blanket?
I did like her hair being wrapped around her. That was really cute.
Shit. Oh.
Yeah, that was really cute.
See you next time. Later. Bye.